thanks for joining me. I hope everyone enjoyed their celebrations last night. I know I certainly did, perhaps a bit too much. But I've got a couple of videos for us lined up for today, so let's go ahead and jump right in.
There certainly were a lot of fires then. So much so, in 1871, there was actually 3 great fires at the same time. The Great Fire of Chicago, you know, the cow kicking over the lamp, Peshtigo, Wisconsin, and big parts of Michigan. There's a bunch of silly stories as to why they think that happened, from ambers from the Great Chicago Fire traveling over Lake Michigan to a comet. That's right, a comet with apparently methane. But here is just a small list you can pause to read, but that is nowhere near the complete amount of these great fires. Then you are absolutely right. All you have to do is just type in Google the Great Fire of, maybe enter your city. And of course the images you see of them, you see what looks like a firebombed city, bricks and rubble, trees and utility poles still standing, pretty much no scorch marks in sight at all. Everybody just standing around posing in their Sunday best in all these photos. In this scene of devastation, the reign of the Great Fires seemed to last up until the early 1900s, when they successfully destroyed enough of the old world tech in them. And that's when we got right along to building these ugly boxes we got now, I guess. Question everything, friends. Until next time.
So this is what I was talking about in our video yesterday. I came across it yesterday morning as I was exploring Google, and indeed I went through and checked different cities to see if they had a fire, and come to learn that they did. I understand in the 1800s fires are very common. You've got people piled on top of each other in major cities with poor safety and wooden constructions, so it's no surprise. What strikes me as odd is that all of those fires seem to happen within a range of about 50 years, from 1850 to 1900. There's speculation that the fires were perhaps an effort to cover up any evidence that America was not settled, but rather occupied or inhabited. But I don't really know. I definitely think that the history that we have been taught is an outright lie. I don't even think it's close to the truth. And as I'm starting to explore these videos, I'm really starting to feel that more and more. I want to know, why were all of these fires within that short range? Why did every city get torched? What do you guys think?
Here. The other way. Hello? I'm not going up there. Definitely not going back there. Oh wow, it is really cold right here. What was that? I don't think it's happy we're here. I don't know. Oh, holy. Dude, there's...
This one gave me goosebumps the first time I watched it. I find that there's something very believable in their reactions. I particularly noticed that they said it was cold as they approached the area where the shadow was, and that is something that's typically attributed to spirits and hauntings. One thing that struck me though was that there were no orbs or technical malfunctions in this video, so it's very clean. That does make me skeptical. However, something about their reactions brings me right back towards thinking it could be real. Now, I did notice as he enters the room with the shadow, the lights change as the camera is autofocusing and adjusting. That would be a perfect spot to snip the video if you had somebody in that room and you needed them to leave, so that then you could show the room is empty. But I'm not really convinced that that's what they did here. I do think it's very possible that this might be a real video. But what do you guys think? Is this a shadow person caught on camera, or is this just some more bullshit? Let me know in the comments.
The world is actually ruled by demons. In almost every major city, there are symbols for Lucifer. The headquarters of the United Nations is located at 666 United Nations Plaza, where there is plenty of demonic symbolism, such as this end time east. In the Bible, it is said that 200 fallen angels descended on Mount Hermon, and that the UN coincidentally has a base there. The craziest thing is that there is a huge pyramid in a city called Astana, has been intentionally hidden from us, similar to the one on the money that controls our entire world. And in this pyramid, there are 200 perfectly aligned chairs. It's almost as if the 200 fallen angels have a secret base where they hatch their plans. In the same city, there's another torch representing Lucifer. This evil symbolism even extends to CERN, the state research facility where there is a statue of Shiva, the destroyer of worlds. It's all just a theory, but the evidence is very convincing.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say that that's not a theory. I think that there's enough evidence worldwide to show that the people in charge are either demons or that they worship demons. We can run through the numbers. Just look at the Rothschilds. They've got a mansion built over top of a demonic sacrificial altar. We've got the CERN using symbolism, 666 in their logo, doing satanic rituals on their grounds, the statue of Shiva. Then we've got Epstein. We've got Diddy. We have all of the Hollywood's elites in their symbolism. We have the accusations of adrenochrome harvesting. It seems like all the people with all the power are really into some dirty stuff. Then if we take a look at Asana and the giant pyramid with those 200 chairs in it, it does make me think that that city is perhaps the host or the home of the Watchers or of Luciferian people. The city itself looks gorgeous, absolutely immaculate, and all of those stone statues are certainly very telling. One thing that they don't mention in that video is that this city is actually the capital of Kazakhstan. And if you remember Kazakhstan, that was made famous in the movie Borat. But in Borat, they led us to believe that that was a dust-covered shithole when it turns out it's immaculate and gorgeous. It makes me wonder if we're not meant to be looking there. As we see that giant pyramid with the 200 chairs, it makes me wonder if that's the reason we're not meant to be looking there. I think that the stories of the Bible are closer to truth than we might be willing to accept. And I do think that the Book of Enoch should not have been removed from the Bible. I think the Watchers are still here. I think that they probably are in Asana, and I think that they've got great and terrible plans for our Earth. I have often speculated that we are living in a world that has already been conquered by Lucifer and that God left a long time ago. And it is definitely feeling that way. When you watch the news, you see the way the political world is going. It's starting to feel more and more like we've already lost the battle. But that doesn't mean we should give up. In fact, I would say that that means we should dig even deeper and start to bring faith and God back into our lives, because I think we need it. I think the people who rule this world have chosen their side, and now it's time for the people who live in this world to stand up and choose their own. This will definitely be a topic that we're going to take a look at a lot more in coming videos.
Does this look like a woman to you?
No, I've always thought that.
Hey, the noses match up.
What the heck?
In 1797, there's a guy who did a painting of Lucifer summoning the fallen angel. But if you look at all the different religions of the ancient world and compare their deities, you get Ishtar. Look at this, a statue of Ishtar.
Oh, wow, yeah, it has the same kind of spikes.
Oh,
Weird.
It makes you wonder about the roots of it, the history of
the
it.
similarities are very weird.
It
though.
is weird that it looks exactly like that Lucifer painting. And there's that verse in Revelation. It says, "Then one of the seven angels who had seven bowls came up and said to me, 'Come, I will show you the judgment of the great prostitute who is seated on many waters.'" You can't call America like what they're talking about, but if we have been seduced by these secret societies who are worshiping the same great prostitute that the ancients were, instead of looking at it as one nation, you could look at it as the evil force that has been ruling all of these different nations throughout history.
I buy into that.
Just a very unresearched, just kind of like
Yeah.
popped into my head sort of thought. And Bible college professors would be proud of that.
This one bothers me a lot. I'm a patriot. I love my country. But this really makes my blood boil. And it makes my blood boil because I know it to be true. The Statue of Liberty is absolutely a statue paying homage to Lucifer, the torch bearer, with his torch up high for the whole world to see. I think that our country was not founded on the beliefs or the structures that we've been told, and that secret societies and Luciferian types are and have always been pulling the strings. We can see that in our architecture, particularly around Washington, the streets forming a pentacle or pentagram. I think this really is another nail in the coffin on the argument that our world is ruled by demons, or at least people who believe in demons. I guess the question is there anything we can even do about it? I think the more that I've come to see evil, the more it makes me want to chase good. What do you guys think? Is our entire US history a lie? Are Luciferians actually running the show? Is it possible that our world has already been conquered and that we are living in some kind of post-apocalypse society already, where God is already long gone? Is there anything we can do to bring him back? These are things that I wonder about. But let me know your thoughts in the comments.
The Denver International Airport has to be one of the most mysterious and well-known locations that involves a ton of conspiracies, and it's almost like the creators are rubbing it in our faces. This guy went there a few days ago to catch a flight. He was looking for his flight terminal, but he ended up in an area that seemed more like the back rooms. There was nobody back there. Things seemed more like props. I tagged his account down below in case you want to watch his videos. After walking around for some time, he ends up finding another flight terminal, but it was more of like a dead end. Like there was nothing back there. Keep in mind that outside of this airport is the statue who is known as Lucifer. People think that he is a node to the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, and he even has a pretty sacrificial sounding past. Lucifer was being built by this man named Luis. When Luis was putting Lucifer together, a section of Lucifer fell off and took Luis's life. Luis's family had to complete the task. Many people are also caught off guard by all of the symbolism that's around the airport. When you go to pick up your luggage, this is one of the gargoyle statues that is there to greet you. There's actually 2 of them. And this is what I mean by how they're throwing it on our faces, because it's right there for us to see. There's reptilian references. There's also a ton of murals. I mean, a ton of them. You could run a quick Google search and find so many, and they all seem very dark. They all seem very violent, and children are often referenced. I mean, the art kind of speaks for itself. There's mentionings of a ton of war and destruction. Even this painting, it went viral during the pandemic. The submission date says that it was in 1995. They ended up saying that was just an error, because how would they know about COVID? There's also a ton of UFO sightings in the area, and a lot of people feel that it is connected to the airport. There's also speculation about the tunnels that are underneath the airport. There are tunnels, and NORAD is in the area, but they're said to just be passing luggage through the tunnels, and nothing more. And I mean, they know exactly what they're doing because of how they reference certain things. They're even using the tinfoil hat to kind of mock people. Why would any airport need to reference so many conspiracy theories or use a bunch of symbolism that way?
The Denver airport is definitely one of the creepiest places on Earth. I used to live in Denver, and I've been to the airport more than a few times, and I have to say it is unfathomably large. Not just what you see above the ground, but the amount of tunnels and the networks that go underground. I mean, that airport is like an airport built on top of an airport built on top of an airport. It just goes miles down. It's absolutely huge. The amount of conspiracy that surrounds that airport is staggering. I do think that there is a tunnel system that runs from that airport south down into Colorado Springs, ending in Cheyenne Mountain. That airport, I mean, you've got the Lucifer horse right out front with his glowing red eyes. Creep me out every time I'd go by it. You've got all the murals talking about post-apocalypse or end-of-the-world type stuff. There's also real creepy gargoyles that loom over the baggage claim and stare at you while you're gathering your suitcases. And then there's a plaque to the Freemasons or the New World Order. I think that the Denver airport is actually used as a continuity of government location. I think that they use the shuttles and tunnel systems underground in order to be able to ferry people from all across the state. And there is speculation that those tunnels run all the way through the U.S. I met a homeless person in San Francisco back in 2009. Now, this gentleman, his name was Martin. He was an older guy, much older, full gray beard, but he was homeless by choice. He just didn't really particularly care for jobs or housing. He just liked to wander and explore. And he had a nice, very expensive laptop that he carried with him everywhere. And he had some pretty good tech and gadgets. He was a very cool guy. And he had told me I should say he's not a crazy homeless person. He was someone you could sit and just have a normal conversation with. I used to see him, there was a laundromat at the end of my street that I would go to, and he was often loitering around, and him and I would sit and chat for hours. He told me that he used to be a cartographer, and he also did computer programming. And while he was doing cartography, he had been employed by the US government, and he said that one of his jobs was to map all the tunnels that run under the US. And he told me about these vast network that goes from state to state, city to city. It's in some areas large enough that you can fit multiple semi-trucks through. And I believe him. There was nothing dishonest about his entire personality. And he had told me that stuff like that is why he kind of chose to leave civilization behind. Now he just free roams. I hope he's doing well. I haven't seen or heard from him in over a decade now, but I've often come back to what he said about the cartography and the maps, and I think that it's directly connected to the Denver airport. Denver airport's hell on earth, man. I don't think I've ever had a good experience there. I really don't. I don't recommend it for anyone. If you're gonna fly through Colorado, go to the Colorado Springs airport. It's itty bitty. You get in and out of it real fast. Piece of cake. Now, one thing I will say about Denver Airport, it's not uncommon for the queue to get to the runways to be miles long, wrapping around itself like a snake wrapping around the building. If ever you're there and you don't want to wait in that line, just grab an employee and tell them that you're going to miss your flight. They will show you a secret tunnel that runs through all the security and all the baggage claim and all the different terminals and pops out at whichever gate you'd like it to. I was fortunate enough one time to get to use that tunnel because my flight was about to leave. The line was wrapped around the building, and there was not a chance in hell that I was going to be making it on time. So one of their employees was kind enough to take me through that passage, and I gotta tell you, it was so much better. I mean, it took all of 3 minutes. We didn't even have to go through security or anything, which bothers me a bit, because if we were nefarious, we would have just made it to our plane without having any of our bags or persons checked. They also mention the back rooms here. Now, I have not been through that section of Denver Airport, but I wouldn't be surprised if there is some back rooms type setup there. For those who don't know what the back rooms are, we'll take a look at it in a future video, but just to give you a quick idea, purgatory, a holding room. It's somewhere in between our world and whatever is beyond. It's always described as a, say, 70s style office building. The buzzing of lights above you is about all you can hear. It's an endless maze, and it became popular through Reddit, if I'm not mistaken, where people were claiming that they had accidentally slipped into the back rooms. And what this means is they perhaps accidentally fell into a portal and found themselves in this never-ending office space. It's definitely the thing of horror. There are some good video games, I believe, that are out right now made on the topic that are kind of cool, but I don't think that they're anything I'd have any interest in playing. I enjoy gaming, but there's just something about the back rooms that is just way too unsettling for me to use it as a leisurely device. One thing that everyone seems to agree about the back rooms is anytime they hear a description of it, or they see an image generated based on that description, they all say that I've been there. That's familiar to me. And I think that there is something to the back rooms. I don't necessarily believe people when they say that they've stumbled through a portal into them. I try to stay skeptical as much as I'm able to. But I do think that the back rooms leaked into our world. I don't think it's anything that we were ever meant to know about. I think it's something that we did stumble upon. And I really do think that the back rooms is actually purgatory. Or if we are living in some kind of simulation, it would be that white room, like in The Matrix, where Neo gets all of his guns and learns Kung Fu. It's definitely something that we'll take a look at in future videos because it is incredibly interesting. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Have you ever heard of the back rooms? Have you ever played any of the games related to them? I'm also curious about your own experiences at the Denver airport. I think that place is certainly creepy enough that I don't think a single person who's visited who's walked away and not felt a little unsettled. So let me know in the comments. Well, those are our clips for today. We'll go ahead and close this video out here. As always, if you enjoyed what you saw, please remember to hit the like and subscribe button. If there's a specific video you'd like me to cover or a topic you'd like me to explore, let me know in the comments. Till next time.